All right, so first off, all praise to Yahweh, in the name of the Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. All right, double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. All right, these are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also, Shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel, Lord willing, I am of that number. All right, this is right off the heels of previous video. All right, say it louder for the people in the back. Which what we're speaking of is a prophecy that we find here in Revelation 13 verses 16 and 17, which I'll go ahead and read now. So Revelation 13 verses 16 and 17 read, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." So this he is speaking of Esau, Edom, all right, the wicked. If we go here to, let me open up another window. All right, Malachi 1 and 4. All right, it reads, "Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord Yahweh hath indignation forever." All right. Now, along the lines of that having indignation forever, okay, we can also go here in the Zondervan's Bible or Compact Bible Dictionary. And under the entry for Edom or Edomites, it reads, "The nation and its people who were the descendants of Esau." Okay. "He founded the country, so his name is equated with Edom. The country was also called Seir or Mount Seir, which was the name of the territory in which the Edomites lived." Now, down here at the bottom of the entry, it says Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. She is the only neighbor of the Israelites who was not given any promise of mercy from Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, which points right back to this verse, right? The people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Now, another part of this verse, all right, another part of this verse read, "They shall build," they being the wicked, all right, Esau, Edom, "they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness." All right, the wicked. Now, if you go here to Job 9 and 24, it reads, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not, where and who is he?" This man has done certain things. And when I say this man, all right, just in that definition, you heard that it is the people also that descended from Esau, Edom. Okay, these people have certain footprints in the earth that tell exactly who they are. All right, they are the wicked. Okay, they are the wicked, the ones with whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Now, they're also known as the basest of men. All right, they are the lowest of men, really. All right, the only reason why they have the power that they do is because it was given them from the Lord. Now we'll get a scripture on that in a second. But let's go to here to Daniel 4 and 17. It reads, "This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basest of men." All right, they are the lowest of men. Okay, the only reason that they have this power is that the Lord gave them this power. Now let me find this other verse. It was given them Hold on. This is Revelation 13 again, in the same chapter that we got this warning out of. Okay. Let's start. Man, damn, they're gonna start at let's go straight to the point. It's Revelation 13:7. It says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. Okay, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So everyone that's not of the Lord's, all right, everyone that's not of the remnant and the elect are going to worship this man. They're going to fall under his divinations, craftiness, all of that. Okay? Because it was given him power, all right, over all kindreds and tongues and nations. Okay? Also, let's touch on this for a second here. You go back here to Malachi 1 and 4. All right, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. As far as that, all right, this happened in Revelation. Let's see, Revelation 20 speaks about this. All right, this is Revelation 20 and 1 with the heading being Satan bound. All right, most people think when it mentions Satan that it's talking about the spiritual demon Satan all the time. No, it's not. This is speaking of the man, all right, that came to do the works of the devil and Satan. All right, he acts out the part of being contrary to the Lord on this earth. Okay, so Revelation 21 reads, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. Now we refer to this scripture and we refer to this angel as being Yahweh Shai. All right, he has the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand, and that chain represents bondage. All right, the power or the not having the power to go out and do whatever, all right, that they want to do. Like we have a chain on us now, right? It is this flesh. We can't rule now. We can't be all the way righteous now because of this flesh, right? So again, Revelation 21, this is speaking of Esau, right? And I saw an angel, this is speaking of the Lord, right? And the great chain you'll see is going to be put on Esau, okay? Revelation 21, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. That bottomless pit, all right, is the UK or Europe, okay? And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, all right? That same spirit that was in the Garden of Eden, okay? That old serpent has now become a dragon, okay? It has perfected its divination, its craftiness, right? Its lies, okay. And the Lord wants these people at the height of their pride, right? Then He's gonna put the smack down on them. But what I want to do here is go in this definition for Satan here, okay.
Strong's G 4567, Satanas.
Okay. It says outline of biblical usage. Okay, it says adversary, one who opposes another in purpose or act. The name given to the prince of the evil spirits. Yes, there is a spiritual demon named Satan. Okay. But then it's down here at the bottom, it says a Satan-like man. All right. A Satan-like man. Strong's definition says the accuser, i.e., the devil, Satan. So this is a man that we're speaking of here in Revelation. chapter 20. All right. So verse 2 again, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Okay. And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more. So this happened at the time that they call the Dark Ages. All right. This is when they weren't ruling. This is when Jake or Israelites, all right, were in power over in these other nations. Okay. Over in Europe, they were called Moors. All right. The Moors are simply Israelites who took to Islam. Okay. But you can find a lot of that history, all right, by searching it up. There's a lot of videos on it, all right. But the point is, Esau Edom was not ruling in this time, okay. He was shut up where he could not lie or anything. People knew who they were back then, all right. It says that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. We are in that little season, starting back in the 14th century. All right, we are in that little season where they got out of the pit and started to go out and deceive. And this is what Revelation 20 is going to talk about. Okay, so you jump from 3 to verse 7 because 4, 5, and 6, all right, speak of a different time. All right, so picking up in verse 7, Revelation 20 and 7, with the subheading reading Satan freed. All right, but also they are doomed. Okay. Revelation 20 and 7, it says, when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. It says Gog and Magog, which is Russia, okay, to gather them together to battle. That's in Armageddon, okay, or Armageddon, okay. The number of whom is as the sand of the sea, okay. So this is what's going to happen, all right. So let's go ahead and go back to where were we before this. That's what Malachi 1 and 4 is speaking of. We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Also, all right, they're going to be made bare. The world is going to realize that, all right, who these people are, the devil and Satan. But let me see, look, hammer. All right, that's not it. Hold on a second here. Okay, this is Isaiah 14. Let's go to Isaiah 14. Let's see. Isaiah 14, I'll start here at 10. All right, it says, all they that speak and say unto thee, art thou also become as weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Now, Lucifer, okay, is a name that means, let's go, light bringer. Let's see.
Strong's
Oops, hold on.
Strong's H 1966. Haleo.
All right, light bearer, okay? In this case, in this verse, all right, it says Hillel's describing the king of Babylon. That's in the case of this, that's in the context of this verse. It said of the king of Babylon and Satan figuratively, all right, but all Lucifer means is light bearer, okay? That's all that word means, is light bearer. So you could even say Yahweh Shai, all right, is a light bearer, all right? But in the context of this verse, it says of the king of Babylon and Satan figuratively, describing the king of Babylon, all right? So what do they call, as a matter of fact, let's look up a word really quick. Define all right, let's see. That's not really what I'm looking for, although I could have read that, but
illuminate.
illuminate, all right, which is a root word of Illuminati, all right, but it says make something visible or bright by shining light on it or light up. Hold on. Let's look up Illuminati, all right. AI overview. The term Illuminati can refer to two things. The 18th century, let's look up, hold on. Let's look up, not define Illuminati, but let's look up etymology. All right, here it is. Etymology of Illuminati. It says the word Illuminati is the plural of the Latin illuminatus, meaning enlightened. Okay. It originates from the verb illuminare, which means to light up. All right. You see? Or to shed light on. Okay. Which goes back to this definition for Lucifer, light bearer. Okay. You know, it's a spiritual thing that they call themselves this, man. All right. So again, back in Isaiah 14 and 13 now, it says, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Thinking about Malachi 1 and 4 again, okay? Where it says, they shall build, but I will throw down, all right? Isaiah 14 and 16, it says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Now what do you call that, man? Their judgment is already laid in front of them, man. This is where they are headed. Okay? This is where they are headed. All right? It says, thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water. I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts. All right, this is what's going to happen with Edom. All right, with Babylon the Great, America. Okay, Esau Edom is going to be put out of this world, man. Okay, which the other nations aren't going to join in our glory. All right, we are going to be immortal. Okay, we're going to receive a lot of promises from the Lord, a bunch of lands. Okay, the other people, all right, a part of their mercy, though, all right, is living. Although they are going to be, okay, all these nations are going into captivity. That's number one. There's no way around it. All of these nations are going into captivity. Okay, but a part of the mercy, all right, that the Lord is bestowing upon these other nations is living in the world without Esau Edom. All right, living in the world without Esau Edom. That is an example of the mercy that the Lord is going to put on these other nations, but they are going to be in captivity, though. All right, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay, as a matter of fact, other. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let me visit Daniel 2 for a second here, just to show that the kingdom isn't going to be passed to anyone or shared with any other nation. Okay, this is the second leg of Rome. All right, so let's start here in Daniel 2 verse 40, and the point is going to be in 44. Daniel 2 and 40 reads, the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. This is the poor of the Edomite nations mixed with the rich of the Edomite nations, or the poor being mixed with the rich. All right, it's not going to hold together. All right, but they still have the strength in their military. All right, that's how they're causing the world to be afraid. All right, Daniel 2 and 42. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, right? Trying to join rich and poor together, right? But they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Now, 44, okay, the subheading reading, the divine kingdom. It says, and in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people. Okay, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Okay, There's no sharing this kingdom with any other nation. All right, this is all for Israelites. Also, let's touch on this really quickly. They were okay. Also in Isaiah, okay. Isaiah 14 verses 1 and 2, with the heading reading Israel's taunt. It says, "For the Lord Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, southern tribes, and will yet choose Israel." Okay, both sections of Israel, right? The northern and southern kingdoms of Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, other Israelites, okay, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. All right, the strangers are these Israelites that were scattered, all right, don't know, or that were scattered, okay, other Israelites. Verse 2, Isaiah 14 and 2, it says, "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord Yahweh for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." Okay? Man. "And it shall come to pass in that day," excuse me, "and it shall come to pass," this is verse 3 of Isaiah 14, "and it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve." All right, we fell because we disobeyed the Lord. All right, but our punishment is almost up. Isaiah 14 and 4, "That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, How hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased." All right, the Lord Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked. All right, he snapped their power, man. Okay, and the scepter of rulers. Okay, man. He smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Okay, that reminds me of those verses that we read, and let me see if I can find it again in the Apocrypha. Let's go here for a second. The last couple of verses in this chapter even talks about the earth being at rest. Let me see. Hold on. Okay, Second Ezra's chapter 11. All right, hold on a second here. Second Ezra's, the 11th chapter, and I'm gonna start at 36. All right. It says, "Then I heard a voice which said unto me, Look before thee, and consider the thing that thou seest. And I beheld, and lo, as it were a roaring lion, chased out of the wood, And I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle and said, Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, Art not thou it that remainest of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. Now, you cannot tell me that this isn't speaking to this man today, man. Verse 41, it says, For the earth hast thou not judged with truth, for thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable, for thou hast loved liars and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. The highest hath looked, the highest hath also, excuse me, the highest also hath looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. All right, the Lord is just watching you fill your cup up, man. Speaking to you, Edomites, man. And don't get it twisted. You 2/3 of Israel that hold to this man, all right, you're gonna receive some terrible things in the end. We'll get a couple of verses on that after this. So verse 45 of 2nd Ezra chapter 11 reads, And therefore appear no more thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body, that all the earth may be refreshed, and may return, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her. All right, even the earth is waiting for this, man. But for you Israelites, though, that are holding on to this, man, let me go back up here and look for a couple of verses. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. Let's see. Let's go here to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. All right. So this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. I'm going to go down here to the point, the last two verses. All right. For Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai created man to be immortal. And this whole chapter speaks of the mind state of Esau, Edom. All right. The wicked. Anyway, verse 23 of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, it says, For Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai created man to be immortal, and made him to be an image of his own eternity. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side do find it. Now that's what you Israelites are about to find, man. Death by pain. For not listening, all right? For not receiving the love that is the truth, okay? Let me, what did I say that was? 2nd Ezra 11, starting at 49. Hold on. No, starting at 39. 38. Let me read this in the Good News Translation, all right? 2nd Ezra 11 and 38. Let's put this under the scope for a quick second here. It says, Listen, eagle, to what? Hold on. Hold up. Let's start at 35. All right, verse 35, 2nd Ezra 11, in the Good News translation. It says, but while I was still watching, hold on. It says, but while I was still watching, the head on the right, hold on. No, we'll start at 36. Good News translation, 2nd Ezra 11. Again, starting at 36. It says, then I heard a voice which said, Ezra, look straight ahead and think about what you see. I looked and saw what happened, what appeared to be an angry lion come roaring out of the forest. All right, Yahweh Shai. I heard it speak in human language to the eagle and say, listen, eagle, to what I have to say to you. It is the message of Yahweh the Most High. You are the only one left of the four animals that I appointed to govern my world and to bring the ages of this world to an end. All right, before we go on here, what does that mean? All right, let's touch on that for just a quick second. All right, Esau, end. Okay. Second Ezra 6 and 9, it says, for Esau is the end of the world, right, or end of this age, okay, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay, and that's never going to fall after this, man. Okay, so again, verse 39 of 2nd Ezra 11, you are the only one left of the four animals that I appointed to govern my world and to bring the ages of this world to an end. Verse 40 says, you are the fourth animal, and you have conquered all the animals that came before you. As long as you have been in this world, you have ruled it through terror, oppression, and deceit, with a total disregard for truth. You have viciously attacked harmless people who were living in peace. You have hated those who spoke the truth, and you have loved liars. You have destroyed the homes of those who were prosperous and have torn down the walls of those who did you no harm. Now, even back here in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, let's see. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 and verse 10, it says, let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. Okay, let our strength, which is wickedness, right, be the law of justice. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objecteth to our infamy the transgressings of our education. All right, this is what you do, Esau. All right, so now verse 43 of 2nd Ezra 11 in the Good News translation, it says, Yahweh, the Most High, knows how proud and arrogant you are. The Almighty One has looked back over the world he established. The end has come. The final age is over. All right. So, eagle, the time has come for you to vanish along with your big, terrible wings, your small, wicked wings, your evil heads, your awful claws, and your whole worthless body. Remember, he talked about cutting off everything, right? The sons, everything, okay? Verse 46, it says, the entire world will be set free from your violence and renewed as it sets its hope on the judgment and mercy of the power who created it. All right, this is what Esau has in store, man. There's no getting around it. Okay. Oh man, we went all the way there. Okay, so hold on a second. Now we gotta go back to this Revelation 13. Let me check this time. More than likely, Lord willing, we'll come back with the part 3. Let me check this time. All right, yeah, well, most definitely. We got to cut this now. And then I will come back with a little bit of what's left, all right, for the part 3. All right, so with that, I hope this came through as sincere and edifying. And with that, all praise to Yahweh, in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. All right, double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the Prophets of Doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also, shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I am of that number, and Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.